Princess Beatrice and Eugenie will continue to be called the York sisters, the real reason behind King Charles's decision. Welcome back, royal watchers, to Crown Chronicles, your trusted home for everything royal, regal, and remarkably true. Before we dive into today's fascinating story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications, because here at Crown Chronicles, we don't just report royal news, we uncover the stories behind the palace doors that the world's been whispering about. Now, today's headline might sound simple on the surface: Princess Beatrice and Eugenie will continue to be called the York sisters. But behind that statement lies a storm of royal politics. Family loyalty, image management, and the quiet but deliberate hand of King Charles III. Because in the modern monarchy, names aren't just names, they're power, perception, and position. And for Beatrice and Eugenie, being called the York sisters could be the difference between royal survival and quiet exile. Let's begin with the backdrop of this royal tale, the story of two princesses born into privilege, but raised amid controversy. Princess Beatrice Elizabeth Mary and Princess Eugenie Victoria Helena were once adored as the bright young faces of the next royal generation, the granddaughters of Queen Elizabeth II, daughters of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York. For years, they were affectionately referred to by the press as the York sisters, a nod not just to their father's title, but to their shared identity within the royal fold. But as time went on, the name York began to carry a heavier burden. When Prince Andrew's reputation imploded following the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, the York Association became increasingly complicated. His disastrous BBC interview, his withdrawal from public duties, and the subsequent stripping of his royal patronages sent shockwaves through the monarchy. Suddenly, being a York wasn't so glamorous. It was controversial, even toxic, and that's where the story takes a surprising turn. In recent months, speculation mounted that King Charles might quietly phase out the use of the York sisters in official contexts, perhaps replacing it with something more neutral, like Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie of Britain, or even just Beatrice and Eugenie. Many royal watchers expected a subtle but symbolic move to distance the sisters from their scandal-stained father. But instead, Charles did the opposite. In a move that few predicted, sources close to the palace now confirm that the king has decided the sisters will continue to be called the York sisters. So why would King Charles, a monarch known for his careful image strategy and desire to modernize the royal family, choose to preserve a title so deeply tied to one of its most controversial figures? The answer, insiders say, lies in family loyalty, and a little bit of royal politics. According to several palace insiders, Charles's decision was not made lightly. He has spent much of his reign attempting to slim down the monarchy, streamline royal duties, and refocus public attention on the core royals, himself, Queen Camilla, the Prince and Princess of Wales, and their children. But Beatrice and Eugenie, though not working royals, have remained quietly loyal to the family throughout the chaos. While their father's downfall made headlines, the sisters kept their composure, avoiding public outbursts, scandals, or criticisms of the monarchy. They showed restraint, discretion, and dignity, qualities King Charles values deeply. One senior aide reportedly told The Times that Charles recognizes that Beatrice and Eugenie have been unfairly caught in the crossfire of their father's mistakes and wants to ensure that their royal identity remains protected. In other words, the title York sisters is being preserved not to honor Prince Andrew, but to honor his daughters, who, despite everything, have maintained the family's grace in the public eye. But there's also a deeper, more strategic layer to this move. The York sisters, despite their reduced roles, have quietly built impressive independent lives that reflect the modern monarchy Charles is trying to shape. Princess Beatrice works in finance and technology and is married to Edoardo Mapelli Mazzi, a successful property developer with aristocratic Italian roots. Princess Eugenie, meanwhile, works in art and philanthropy and is married to Jack Brooksbank, who's had business roles in both London and Portugal. Both women are mothers, balancing careers with family life, and have become subtle symbols of what a modern royal can look like, one who works, contributes, but doesn't rely on public funds. King Charles, ever aware of public sentiment, likely understands that Beatrice and Eugenie can serve as positive examples for what the royal brand needs most right now: relatability, dignity, and quiet strength. By keeping them identified as the York sisters, he's ensuring they remain recognizable, marketable, and, most importantly, royal, but of course, not everyone agrees with this decision. Critics argue that keeping the York name alive risks reminding the public of the very scandal the monarchy wants to move on from. Some royal commentators believe that dropping the name would have been a smart rebranding move, allowing Beatrice and Eugenie to forge their own independent identity away from their father's shadow. It's a missed opportunity, one insider said. The York name is forever tied to Prince Andrew, and no amount of charm or grace from his daughters can completely erase that. Still, the sisters themselves appear content with the decision. Those close to the princesses say they have always been proud of their family name and the bond it represents. In interviews over the years, both Beatrice and Eugenie have spoken fondly of their upbringing, describing their parents as loving and supportive.